And we're going to take a look at solving a system of equations by substitution. Okay. Now, the key thing to know about this is you're only going to use this when one or both are x equals or y equals. So either x equals, another can be different, or y equals, another can be different, or both of them are this. Okay, so if they're not this, you're not going to use substitution. All right, so look at this example right now. Is it y equals, okay, or x equals on both? No, it's not, right? However, I can, first of all, you already know what my thoughts are on this. Anytime you see a fraction, you know I hate fractions. So what do? You get rid of fractions. How do I get rid of fractions? You multiply everything by the denominator of that fraction. So let's go ahead and do that. So you multiply this by 2, you multiply this by 2, you multiply that by 2. This 2 on the top crosses out with the 2 on the bottom. This 2 on the top crosses out with the 2 on the bottom. So now you have y equals 2 times x, negative 2x, minus 1. Okay, so you know we hate fractions. As soon as you see any fractions, go ahead and get rid of it. Okay, so now this helps me because it's y equals. So as long as I have y equals, I can use substitution. All right, so I substitute everything after the equal sign on either x equals or y equals. So everything after that, that's all of this. You substitute that into the other equation where you see that variable. So what variable am I looking for? Y. And instead of putting y, I'm going to put this whole thing. So you're going to draw me an arrow where you see y. Bam, right there. All right, now you're going to substitute that in there with parentheses, in parentheses for the substitution. Okay, so it's going to be negative 2, so I'm copying it down. Then parentheses for the substitution. What's the substitution right here? Negative 2x minus 1. Okay, then write everything else down. So plus x equals negative 13. Step 2, you're going to solve for the only variable. So the only variable you have in here is x. And guess what this is again? This is equation. So I need you to draw my river. And what's the first step you're going to do? You're going to distribute this. So that's going to be a negative times a negative is a positive. 2 times 2 is 4. So it's 4x. All right, then distribute that as well. Negative times a negative is a positive. 2 times 1 is 2. Bring everything else down. Plus x equals negative 13. All right, then what do I want to see? Boxes and circles. So box. Don't forget the symbol. That's a circle. That's a box. That's a circle. Then what do I want? I want my boxes on one side, my circles on the other side. We're just going to move the positive 2. So that moves across the river. What's that going to become? Negative 2. Don't forget to cross it out. Okay, now I'm going to combine my boxes. And again, if you're having problems with this, see solving equations, the video on that. 4x plus x is going to give me 5x equals negative meets negative. What's going to happen? They're going to fight or they're going to join? They're going to join because they're the same team. So they're going to be more negatives. How many negatives are there going to be? 15. Then how do I get x by itself? Divide both sides by 5. So I'm going to get x equals negative divided by positive is a negative. 15 divided by 5 is 3. Put a box around your answer, even though I didn't say that. So solve for the variable and put a box around it. This is a listening check. Color in what I'm writing right now. Okay, so I've solved x is equal to negative 3. You're going to then, step 3, plug your answer into the easiest looking equation to find the other variable. All right, so which one of these equations looks easiest? Okay, it doesn't matter. It works on whichever one. All right, because I kind of played around with this one a little bit, I'm going to put it into this one because this is just easier. So I'm going to plug this into this. That means everywhere where I see x, instead of x, I'm going to put negative 3. So coming right up here, okay, I have y equals negative 2. And then what do I see in x? So instead of x, I'm going to put negative 3. And then bring everything else down, minus 1. All right. So solve to find the other variable. Negative times a negative is a positive. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 minus 1. Y is equal to 5. Put a box around that too. So now I've got y equals 5. So it says write the solution, x and then y. I found x to be what? Negative 3. All right, so my solution is,
This is a listening check. Color in y equals 5.
-3, because that's my x, and then my y is 5. So write my solution xy. So from a graph, remember where the intersection is a solution. From just equations through substitutions, when you solve, that is the solution. So the question is what I just found a solution? And what you do is you plug the answer into both equations to check if it's true, just like we did in the previous video. So this is x, this is y. You're going to plug it into both equations to see if it's true. So I'm going to write down the original equations. So y over 2 equals -x minus 1 over 2. Then on this one, -2y plus x equals -13. So I'm going to check if it's true. Where I see x, I put -3. Where I see y, I put 5. So I see y, so it's going to be 5 over 2 equals -x, which is -3 minus 1 over 2. For this one, -2, and then I see a y, so I put parentheses 5 plus x, which is parentheses -3, equals -13. And you can literally just put that in a calculator to just make sure, but I guess since we're doing this by hand, I'll just go ahead and show you. So 5 over 2 equals a negative, and a negative is a positive, so it's going to be 3 minus 1/2. And 5 over 2, which is 2.5, is the same as 3 minus 1/2. 3 minus 0.5 is 2.5 as well. So that works out. But again, you can put that in a calculator. This one, -2 times 5 is -10. A negative times a positive is a negative. And then a positive times a negative is a negative.
This is a listening check. Color in 5 over 2 equals 5 over 2.
Negative meets negative. Are they going to fight or join? They're going to join and grow. And it's a negative team, and they're going to be 13 over. So I have checked to make sure that this is my solution. If you don't want to get it wrong in Excel, you can check it to make sure that it is a solution. And that's pretty much all you have to do. All right, so again, you only use when one or both of them are x equals or y equals. So in this case, what do I have? I have x equals. So I can go ahead and use this method of doing it. So we're going to substitute everything after the equal sign of x equals or y equals. That means this one right here. So I'm going to substitute all of this, everything after the x equals, into the other equation where I see that variable. So I'm going to bring this into this other equation where I see what? X. So this whole thing, I'm going to draw an arrow goes into here. In parentheses for the substitution. Okay, so let's go ahead and do it. So you're going to write this out again. So 2y equals, and then I see a negative, and then I see an x. So that part is what goes in parentheses. And what is it? -2y plus 8. Close parentheses. Then I see a plus, then I see an 8. And notice I keep my finger there just so that I don't lose track of what I'm doing. Now what is this? Again, solving equations. All right, so we're going to go ahead and do that. So on this side I have 2y equals, and I'm going to distribute this negative, so going in there is going to give me a negative times a negative is a positive, so that's 2y, and then in that one, a negative times a positive is a negative, and then plus 8.
This is a listening check. Put a circle around example 2, EX2.
So a box with that, circle, circle. All right, so I just need to take my box on the other side, so I'll take this on the other side. What is that going to become? It's going to become -2y. That's gone. Okay. So what am I going to get? 2y minus 2y is 0, right? Positives means negative. They're going to fight and die. They all die. And then -8 minus 8. Negatives meet in negatives. They're going to join and grow. So that's going to be -16. Now, I can't have nothing is equal to something. So I'm going to write that down. I cannot have that. Nothing cannot be equal. So equal and then a sign, think through it means cannot. Nothing cannot be equal to something. Right? So when you have this case where nothing is equal to something, this is the case where you have no solutions. Okay? No solutions. Which means that if you were to graph these two, okay, if you were to graph these two, you would end up getting up two parallel lines. So what that's telling me is the slope is the same, but the y-intercept is different. So let's check. So sometimes you don't even have to really solve it. You can just check for that. So let's check for the slope. All right. If to check the slope, I would have to what? Make it y equals. Okay. So if you want to go through the making it y equals, so I'll just do it right here on the bottom. You just need to divide for this one, for it y equals, divide everything by 2, right? So you're going to get y equals negative 1/2 x plus 8. For this one, we need to bring this to the other side, bring the x to the other side. So that's going to be 2y equals, because it's going to be positive, bring this one's going to be negative x, I'm sorry, plus 8, divide everything by 2. Y equals negative 1/2 x plus 4. So again, the slope, okay, the slope is the same, which means it could be either parallel to each other or the exact same line. But you know, it's not the exact same line because the y-intercepts are different. So if the y-intercepts are different, it's not the exact same line, which means that they are parallel to each other. And if they're parallel to each other, you have no solutions. If these were exactly the same, you have infinitely many solutions. So sometimes this can save you if you want to just be checking the slope and the y-intercepts before you solve it. It will save you some time.
We'll continue the last 2 examples in the next video.